Oh
Okay,
no.
let's say I have a stash of gold, like as like a back burner, but I'm trying to work off a liquid silver pool as well.
Do you also budget yourself from an alt account which keeps your main gold? Because that's what I do. I give myself like a weekly allowance on my main character, and if I burn down, it means I'm not doing good.
Well, sort of, right? So I can use my silver for whatever ZVZ stuff and such I want to do. And if I go lower, I really need to start working on like getting silver again.
Yeah, right. I think so. When I also posted the poll the last time, I think a lot of people were making 500k upwards in their day anyway. And then there were a few people who were still struggling to even make 500k a day. And then there were 40% beginners who had just joined either the game or the guild and who had kind of like not a very clear idea of how econ works normally. So, and I will keep it very casual right now because I have had like literally 2 coffees and only 3 hours of sleep last night. So please bear with me. Um, Let us first go over the different types of econ there can be because I feel like not the seasoned player, of course, like you guys who are already doing ZVZs, but mostly for like the newbies, it is sometimes hard to figure out how to exactly branch out into different types of things, especially because this is a sandbox game. So they think econ just means crafting, or econ just means going around with mammoth and not talking to anybody and or answering whispers. So just to clarify to like all those people who feel econ and making money is only a crafting thing, could the person mute their mic, please? I don't know.
That would be Batman.
Yeah, Batman, could you please mute yourself?
Thank
There
you.
we go.
Perfect. So yeah, just to come back to it, there is money in every single activity you do, and there's also stuff that is more fun than doing other kinds of stuff. Like there are people who sit at their PC 10 hours a day only looking at Excel sheets and something that is equivalent to like a real life stock market, and then they're just trading non-stop in the game. Might be fun for those people, might be fun for you, but it is not really something that fits for everybody. On the other hand, doing PvE, doing ZVZs is fun, but sometimes it could also be a money sink if you are a not so good at ZVZ or like making sure that you kill people before dying, or B, if you do it so often and come with Gucci gear and then something goes south and now you have burned through 4 to 10 million every single gear set you re-gear yourself. So, in today's session, I will be covering, at least from my side, the overview of all the different types of activities. We are not going into a deep dive, but I've already seen the names in this voice chat. We have so many players here who are experienced, and we can also share our side of things. So I would first start with just going from literally the tutorial island, and we start off with the beginner friendly econ that you can have. So this is just stuff below 100k net worth, below or like not even compulsorily having a premium on your account, and going through certain things that you can, maybe scale up to 20k, then 50k, 100k, a mil, so on. The other things I have left for the next tabs, and those would focus more on once you have already gained premium, presumably, and now you're looking into how to use your focus or how to spend your time better to not just spend all your time trying to make money, but rather also spending it on the things you like to do, like having fun with your friends. So the two divisions I've divided the beginner activities in it is combat and market. Let us first look at the combat aspects of beginner activities. So here, when you just start out in the game. You barely have access to new gear, you barely have access to money to afford good gear. What you could do is get a flat tier 4, even a tier 3 set. Go to the blue zones first, get some solo dungeons out, and once those are out of the way and you have some Reaver achievements in your skill tree, you can then go directly to Yellow Zone Mists, which do grant you a lot of fame, a lot of money, and even the Brazilian reputation. And for those of you who do not know what Brazilian is, it is a city that only unlocks after a certain threshold of reputation you gain with them. And you gain this reputation through freeing some wisps inside those mists, and also teleporting or like traveling and escorting a weakened wisp to its target destination inside the same mist. So
Same with
going,
clearing camps.
yeah, perfect. That too. So there are camps inside a mist with objectives that you can do. There's mobs mostly, and once you kill a certain threshold of mobs, you can then unlock a chest in the middle, which allows you to get some tomes, which are normally fame tomes. Or sometimes, in rare cases, you can also just get a straight up chest, which gives you items as well. So the path to go into Mist, if you are like, if you start enjoying that content, would then be do the Yellow Zone Mist, clear camps, clear wisps, escort everything, unlock the Brazilian city, and once you unlock the Brazilian city, teleport there and start doing Mist from Brazilian. And that way you can also get access very conveniently to the lethal mist, which will then allow you to go in even better tier mists, and then you can then get easily 100 to 200k per gear you're carrying. So I did test this out with 20k gear as well, with the cheapest stuff on the market you can buy. So it's flat tier fours, no cape, no like no real mount. Honestly, just get a donkey. And with this, you just go in, and even before anybody can come and kill you, because this is a lethal mist, right? People will be hunting for other people. So even before anybody can come and kill you, you are comfortably able to make 100 to 200k of raw silver just by killing mobs, doing the mist activities, etc. So imagine how much more it would scale once you are fight ready and once you can actually go and start killing people with better gear, like 100k gear, 800k gear. And if you are interested, there are so many people on Twitch who also stream just single solo mists all the time. The second thing that I want to bring up with combat here is, well, it's not really combat. This is more just an advice while you're going out into the different zones. This one is to level up to tier 4, at least in mining, fishing, and skinning. The main reason being, mining and skinning, the gear for those will help you late game as well, even with higher tier items, because mining boots are the fastest boots that you can use to escape. So imagine transporting items or you're transporting in lethal zones. You would want mining boots as a part of your escape set sometimes. So you would at least want to be able to wear them. With fishing boots, they have a very similar purpose, but their special ability makes you dash towards enemies and then knock them out of their place, which is also really good if you are now not just transporting, but let's say you're transporting with a friend and your friend is the one you want to protect. So then you can use your fishing boots to actually save your friend sometimes if people are ganking that person. With skidding boots, these are an essential part of the skip sets in HCEs, which we will come to later. So again, these three, if you are interested, you can continue going forward with the gathering. If not, at least get T4 for the. The other thing which we also recommended to a person recently was arenas for fame farming, because that person was exclusively trying to be a holy healer, and they also did not want to branch out to any different weapon. So if you are a healer and if that is the only thing you like doing in the game, you can absolutely still get some fame and some decent amount of sigils for crafting by just entering arenas and going to the ranked crystal arena matches, and over time just climbing the ranks there. Once you do, the first time you climb a rank, you get a chest. And when you open the chest, you get rewards naturally. So every time you climb a rank in a season, you get those chests. Healers from the picture as well, you can see that the healers get the most benefits basically because they are trying to promote healers queuing up for these matches. So they provide the incentive of two extra fame books. The fighters don't get this, but I will say that the fighter role is also quite interesting. So you could learn different DPS styles and also bring any other gear other than just Holy and Blight all the time. The other stream, which I feel a lot more people would be instantly grabbing on when they start playing Albion, is the market of the game. It is a free market, so a lot of things end up being profitable for newbies while it becomes a waste of time for people who have more better things to do. Two of those things are A, if you are starting out in the tutorial island, what you can easily do before leaving it is go to the tutorial island shop. And if you remember, you bought a mule for 3 silver in that shop. What you can easily do is carry 3 to 4 extra mules in your backpack and bring them across to another city once you leave the tutorial island. That way, you can sell something you bought for like 3 to 10 silver for 4,000 silver very easily. So, this is like the first activity you can do in Albion to already get to the 20k point. Second thing you can do is gathering rough stone. So, because of just gatherers spending more time gathering more attractive resources, people often forget about the stuff like rough stone. And this is currently the highest paying stone out of the first 3 tiers, even 4 or 5 tiers, if I'm not mistaken. So, you can easily do that as well. The other things that you could absolutely do in the beginning is flipping items from an ordinary cape or an ordinary cowl or hood or whatever into their upgraded equivalents, being the royal styles and also the capes, which could be the faction cape. So you just need a normal cape of any quality, any enchantment, put any heart on it, and you can instantly get the Royal City equivalent cape for it, which often sells for a higher profit than the normal cape does. Same with the Royal gear. The
Hey
other thing
guys.
that works is you can use the earthworms that you either get by buying simply from the market or by actually getting them from farming yourself organically. You can convert them into bait. Now, if you create fancy bait or even the higher bait, those actually sell for around 500 to 200 profit, sorry, 500 to 2000 profit margin in silver per bait for you. So that is also lucrative for somebody who is just starting out and does not even have a million in their bank account. Now, coming to proper gathering and crafting, what you can easily do first is fishing. Why I put this separate from other gathering is because this is also something very accessible and understandable for newbies. So this is like a perfect transitioning if they're just starting to gather. You go out with normal fishing gear. You get fish back, right? You get sometimes fish back, sometimes you're unlucky and you get wood. The easy thing that people sometimes get wrong is they just put all the fish on the market to sell. But if you want to maximize your profit with fishing, what you want to do is use a tool like this chopped fish calculator. I will be sharing the links later as well, since I think these are unclickable. So you use one of these tools, and this tool gives you a table of one city and its prices for the different fish as well as chopped. And sometimes selling a chopped version of the fish is more profitable than selling the proper whole fish. So then you just simply take those fish to one of the butcheries, you chop it up, and then you go and sell that into the market. The other thing that you can do instead of just selling chopped fish is take the chopped fish and take the seaweed you also get from fishing every time and turn them into fish sauce. Now, if you do divide your gains into chopped fish and fish sauce, you will end up selling fast instead of just saturating the market with just one type of item. And fishing also benefits from journals. So please, if you are going fishing, make sure you take at least a T5 or T6 fishing journal, not a trophy journal, a fishing journal, normal. You take a pork pie for increasing your gathering rate, and get your worms turn into baits, and then you take the cake right now because the cake, I think we have it for 7 more days or something. So that will get you more gathering fame for it, so you can level up faster. Coming to now, like the other actual branches of gathering, you have Avalonian tools available, I know, but those are, in my opinion, way too expensive for way little return rate. And I would say rather use the Avalonians if A, you are rich, and B, if you just want to level up something faster, because they do give you extra yields, which does boost your fame count. The second thing about gathering is definitely decide whether your character is going to be a gatherer main or a crafter main. And this becomes really relevant if you look at what learning points are and how many you can obtain in a day. So every day with the premium, you are capped at 30 learning points. So 30 learning points get added over the course of 24 hours. It's not every single reset, it's over the course of 24 hours. And the gathering tree costs a lot of learning points if you want to efficiently level up to the next tier and the next tier and the next tier and so on. So decide if you want to be a gatherer and you want to spec up first your gathering, or if you want to also on the side craft the gear. Crafting with potions and food is fine because food and potions does not really need learning points. So you can do those two crafts separately, but every other craft that requires material to craft, which isn't edible or farmable, you actually do need learning points for that as well. What a lot of people do here is they make their main character a gatherer because that is the character you will play the most on. So it makes absolute sense for you to go out and gather, while they can make the alt account crafters. So then the alt are also able to efficiently use the learning points and then craft with the stuff you gather and then multiply the profit. With red and black zone gathering, which is like the lethal zone gathering, including Ava Road gathering, you don't want to be on an ox, you don't want to be on a bear, you don't want to be on any mount that does not have a passive carry capacity. So even if you get dismounted, you don't stand as a stone, but rather you get to move. Plus, it is better to have a mount which also does not um, have a difference between its walking speed and its running speed. So those mounts like Pest Lizard, for example, or these sand salamanders have the same gallop speed no matter if they get hit or they get tagged, they run. They have the same speed all throughout, which is also perfect if you're gathering. The other thing for safety while gathering in the lethal zones is you could, and I highly recommend it, you could have a widescreen resolution, which I have linked in the YouTube video here, but basically you need to go to your NVIDIA settings and change your resolution down. Then keep an ear out for audio in case there are any gankers who come with invis or who come with boots or who come dismounted, because then you can really hear their mount, you can hear their boot, clicking, and then you can also hear them chugging down an envy pot, for example. The third thing is parking your mount close to you. You need to park your mount right next to you, so even if you hear anything suspicious, you can immediately mount up and run away. You don't want to sit there, chat with the person, you don't want to be there just sitting around like a duck. And fourth, obviously, goes for any activity in black zones or red zones or whatever. Be aware of the map. You don't want to just enter something and not know what the dead ends are, or where some mobs are like stacked up. We also, by gathering items and gathering material in the guild, we will soon be starting crafting with it. So if you are a gatherer in our hideout zone and want to give us something, please reach out to one of the management and they might even buy out your stuff for lucrative prices. Yeah. Coming to refining, don't do it. But in all fairness, you could do it. It's just one of those things in the gathering, refining, and crafting pipeline that doesn't really pay out as much as the other two. So I would only recommend refining as a proper core econ strat if you have A, no time to do all the calculations, and B, if you already have multiple alls to level up and spec up and get refining done at a large scale. Because only then does it become profitable to, let's say, going on different discords and then selling your refined mats to other people at a discounted rate. But nobody is going to want to buy just 200 of something, for example. They want big stack. Coming to crafting, so I think most of you are already aware of the different return rates we get for craft in different cities. We have crafting bonuses in every city for different items. Limers, for example, has helmet and shoes made of leather and also arcane staves, bows, and swords. It, however, will not ever have a hide refining bonus. So normally the city which provides you a refining bonus for a certain material is always two cities away from the next zone which provides you good crafting bills for that material you just refined. The thing that makes all of these gear crafting different from food and potion crafting is that with potion and cooking, you can actually not use learning points, right? So you can level up cooking and you can level up potion crafting alongside any of the other crafting, refining, gathering things you are already doing. You can, however, still study the cooking and alchemy products. So you can still study potions, you can still study fish, and that boosts your fame further and that makes you level up faster. What you could do in the early game if you don't want to spend a lot in just getting the mastery for cooking, for example, go fishing for let's say an hour or two, get the fish, turn the chopped fish into grilled fish by cooking it, and then you can instantly get like 60, 70 levels within that period just by cooking it and eating it. Like by eating, I mean studying it. And Brazilian is for potions, and it's super, super, super easy to go into Brazilian and craft as opposed to just crafting it anywhere or even at a hideout. Just find a mist, find if the mist has one of those Brazilian portals. If it doesn't, go out of the mist, wait for the next one, go back in. So just by going in and out of mist, you can easily find the Brazilian portal in under 15 minutes every time. And once you do that, that's very straightforward. You just go and craft there, and then you can teleport back with the navigator to any other city and sell this stuff. Also, watch out for the daily bonuses and events because those will be providing you a lot of boost in your craftings later, especially if you're doing hideout crafting, which has the best return rates. So
Mm.
these here are currently the quote unquote hot items. This is not a conclusive list by any means, but this is just to provide you a brief idea of what might be a good item to craft. And please ignore the tier I'm listing here. I've just taken a snapshot of this at a tier 4 flat, but what I'm trying to imply by this is that if you craft a 6-3 of any of these items, that will sell good in the player market. We're not talking about the black market just yet. This is just strictly for the player market. Players buy this in large volumes. Players will buy this at a large profit margin from you. So you want to make these particular items. We'll also make a thread in the economy channel just for crafting items and metas right now. So we can go over this later as well. Now, coming to crafting stations, these are available in the Royal Zones with all the Royal Zone return rate bonuses and crafting bonuses available in that particular city. These are also available in hideouts. And one and there are like three major things I want to get your attention to. Number one, for Royal Zone crafting, you want to look at associate rate. Because when you are paying for services, there will be two different prices quoted. There will be a price in silver, like you can see in the top left image, there will be a silver price differential between the associate rate and a regular user. What you want to notice first is that the access rights should be custom, meaning that the person who owns it, in this case Keeper, is able to add you or add your whole guild to that particular shop so that you can become associate. Next, you can just write out an email, not an email, sorry, this is ancient. You can write an in-game mail to that person, addressing your request and asking him either for the associate rights for yourself or for your whole guild. Now, your guild in this case could be Purified, or it could also be one of your alts crafting guilds, which you just made as a blocker for having Guild Island access personally. So this could then be written out in just a very clear way where you tell him you would like access to like a T8 cook in a specific direction, because sometimes shop owners have multiple shops in different areas of the whole map in the same city, and they would like you to specify which one you're talking about. So please be very clear about which shop you're talking about, and just send out multiple mails to different shop owners for different prices. And 9 out of 10 times this does come back with a positive reply. They often tell you, sure, I'll just add it to you. So it's very simple to do, and then you're profiting also in the silver that the shop is taking from you. The other thing I want to bring your attention to is the 3 bars of exhaustion. Those are the capacity, durability, and food. Every shop has it, even the ones in our hideout have it. And these 3 bars need to be filled over time, and they have different ways of filling them. So the durability is the easiest to understand. It is just referring to the building's durability. And it degrades over time, but this is not something you as a user can affect. This is something that the owner has to keep repairing the shop with. So he has to bring stone, he has to bring wood, he has to put that into the shop to repair it. The other thing is the food. Food is also relatively simple to understand. You give a shop its favorite food or any food, you provide it nutrition, and its food goes up. And the food goes down when you use the shop to craft anything tier 4 and above. The capacity is the same, except the capacity refers to the actual exhaustion of the cook, or in this case. So if you are crafting, or if let's say 10 people go to the same cook and craft at the same time, the capacity bar depletes based on every single craft it is performing. And once the capacity reaches low, or like 1%, you will have to wait maybe 50 seconds, maybe 2 minutes to just craft another thing. This is the bar that people often do not notice because this is not something that shows up instantly when you hover over the tooltip of a shop. But this is the one that is most relevant during events for crafting because then, let's say there is a 20% potion crafting buff. Every single potion crafting station, so every single alchemist in Brazilian will be almost A, almost out of food, and B, almost always out of capacity. Unless the fees that the crafting station is charging is variable by a lot between a user and his associate. So let's say the user fee is 500 and the associate fee is 200, then there are chances that it may not be that much used by a lot of people. And again, for bonuses, you can have the journals, you can have salads, potato salad normally, but if you are crafting something very, very Gucci, you can also go for a Kraken salad. And you can always make use of the buffs like cake.
It's gonna run out of soon.
There's also now coming to the feeding rewards. Some stations offer you a reward when you feed them any type of food. There is obviously a favorite food for every single shop, and if you feed them that favorite food, you basically double the amount of nutrition you're giving them, thereby doubling the amount of reward you're receiving for it. In our hideout as well, in Cliffs, we offer up to date reward for food, and this is often pegged at 10% profitability for the feeder. So if you are, let's say, buying something from Fort Sterling or cooking your own food and bringing it to the hideout to feed any of our shops, you will end up making a 10% profit, more or less. It could be more if you are doing your own crafting and setting up buy orders as well. So just one thing to keep in mind. The last thing I want to talk about in the crafting segment is resource return rates. Do not confuse the crafting bonus with a direct one-to-one resource return rate because the return rate is more pegged at what you actually get in one sitting, while the resource bonus at the top that's listed would be more of a gradual thing, and it is often used as a metric to calculate the resource return rate, which is the bottom table. So looking at the hideout crafting, aka the black zone, our power level is decided by the cores. You can always check it at the hideout inside what our power level currently is. It normally, the last few weeks, it has normally stayed at either a power level 9 or power level 8. And knowing our hideout's quality level, which is a 2, we know that it will be in the second column and the 8th and ninth row for what our bonuses are, and then correspondingly what our resource return rate would be, which is going to be around 36% to 38%. These are without focus. With focus, it goes up to 42, 45%, something like that. You
Wait,
do,
what is the difference between the first table and the second?
first table
What?
is the craft.
Look, what had you done?
Disconnected.
But
Where?
who
What
broke
What
up?
have
happened?
you done?
What have you done? Asked too many
Yes, and
questions,
so
man.
that's why.
Get
That's
off
why.
mute.
Taseki, you
I
asked too many questions. You just break it down the AI. Ay, ay, ay. Let me check here. She DC'd or something like that. Oh,
Maybe. Oh, ready to pair.
okay. Attempt two.
Okay, attempt two. So let me explain this once again. The top table, look at it as a cumulative return. The bottom table, look at it as the absolute return after one craft. So let's say you take 100 craft worth of resources, right? In the bottom table, you will get exactly that much percent back after the 100 crafts go out. So if you take 100 craft worth to a crafting station in our hideout at level 9, let's say, so 38% return, you will get 38% of the 100 back. So you will get 38 crafts worth back.
Yeah.
The top table is now calculating on cumulative returns in a way. So it is not, again, very um, clear cut, but it is a probabilistic thing. So the top table now is talking about, let's say you took the 38 you got from the first graph and you put it back in. Now you will get again 38% of that 38. So then
Oh,
eventually at the end, effectively, you will be ending up with 62 additional crafts on top of your 100.
oh, I see. So it's like I'm using the extra stuff I saved
Okay.
for extra crafting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Ah, okay, okay. Thanks.
So the bonus that you see, right, in the events, which is listed 10% bonus, 20% bonus, and also the crafting bonuses listed in the hideout or any royal zone, that is corresponding to the first table.
Question: what are those Q1, 4, and 5 stand for?
Those refer to the hideout quality. So hideout quality 1 is when you just set up a hideout, or if
How
you
is the level of the hideout?
yes,
Mm.
exactly.
Uh-huh. Okay.
I think that the quality is not the quality of the hideout, but the quality of the zone that the hideout is in.
Huh.
So
No,
ours will always be quality 2.
Okay.
no, I think once you go to quality 3, you get a quality 3 hideout, but I think we can or cannot make a quality 3 hideout.
I mean,
And then there's a possibility.
there's nothing about level above level 3 for the hideout. So maybe we want to revisit this.
Oh yeah, then maybe you're right. It's probably the zone quality. I will confirm that again, but I thought this was all the level of the hideout, not the other
Oh.
way.
Yeah, but like he said, there is only 3 levels for hideouts.
It's depend on the quality of the map, and the quality never change. It's depend if you
The
have the
hideout
theory
has
or
a
not.
hideout quality listed, right? Which
Yeah,
is
but you
zone
have
quality.
a power level. So the power as well like give you some percentage. So you
Ah,
have
yeah, the power level.
quality Terry level if you have the Terry and the power level of the hideouts. The level itself, like the if it's level 1 or 2 or 3, it doesn't really give you.
Okay, then correction. This is referring to the zone quality, which you can also check in the hideout quality. So it's a quality of the hideout, not the level of the hideout. Just to clarify.
I have
Yeah.
to go, guys. I have to go unplug my computer because it's hella storming outside.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Later.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Take care.
Take
I
care.
have a nice one.
Okay, so now just to bridge back, we just covered gathering, crafting. What do you do now if you're sitting on 500 different crafts and you know that you cannot saturate the market? There is a market for things normally which are in high demand, like the hot items, or potions and consumables of other kinds, like potions, food, bait, everything else, free to go into the marketplace. But what do you do if you end up looting something super Gucci, or you end up crafting something like a masterpiece and you don't want to just depend on the marketplace prices? Because A, you will have to be dealing with taxes because they suck and you don't want to pay taxes to SBI. And B, you want a way more free market where people who are smarter than the average guy who just dumps everything in the marketplace can also trade on a more regular basis or even long-term basis. For that, there is OTC marketing, so OTC trading. It's the same thing as people do even in real life. This just takes you away from the market, does not give a cut to the market from either the buyer or the seller, and you can do it directly with the person. You can do this in slash trade. You can do this in slash say, but those two, in my opinion, barely work reliably. So what people normally do when they talk about OTC trading is they go to discords which are dedicated for it. They go to the discords like Gold or Co or AO Grind or other similar tool-based discords, and they just start putting their want to sell, want to buy orders, and then people who are interested in taking it up will contact you personally or under the same thread. I recommend Gold or Co because they have a very nice ticket based system, even for crafters, refiners, and gatherers who can easily put on their market a want to sell, want to buy order. And then people can match each other based on the tickets instead of just having a very chaotic one channel where everybody types. Normally in OTC trading, if you are trading for, let's say, gathering material or crafting material, you will end up giving a larger discount. Normally, it is between 5 to 10% of the average price of a particular city. And this could also be sometimes the 7-day running average price. So you get to decide. It's the same with herbs as well. So herbs, plants, milk, etc., animal products, same thing. 5 to 10% off, and your whole lot gets sold instantly.
You can speak about it. Like in a gold core, usually I buy for 10 and 9% off. So it's like the usual it's 5%, but you can grab about, yeah. How can I say it? Like you can speak about it. You can be flexible sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. You have to
Barter.
negotiate a bit more with
Yeah,
people
negotiate. Yeah.
on the OTC trading. And then this is a win-win situation for both the buyer and seller because then the buyer does not have to place buy orders and pay a tax, and the seller does not have to place a sell order and pay his 6.5% of the cut to SPI. So often this ends up like a win-win situation for both sides. Now coming to the black market, this is a market located in Caerleon. This is a place where a lot of people put things in bulk and sell it. And this is often things that nobody A wants, or B, you have way too many of that you would end up saturating one market if you end up selling it there. The way black market works in the game is that it creates buy orders for items it wants to put out in the chests and the loot boxes out in the whole Albion environment. The moment they're from their side, let's say a user looted a nice item or the user or player looted something out of a chest, then Albion is at a deficit of one item of that particular thing, and then it places a buy order right here in the black market to buy another one. So it, in a way, keeps the volumes constant. And that is why there is like in their backend, there are some tables that they're referring to for how many things should end up in an RNG based way in all the loot boxes and treasures and open world chests. The things that you can normally sell very easily and profitably in the black market are tier 4, 4.1, 5.1, 6.1. I wouldn't go above that, especially for crafting, because that is also where you want to keep the sweet spot for laborers in crafting that I will end up mentioning later. But if you just are starting out as a crafter, I would recommend just crafting tier 4 flat items, taking it to the black market. And if you are too scared of taking it to the black market, you can also hire transporters from one of those discords. Like Gold or Co has its own transporters. We in the guild also have transporters. So you can hire us or you can hire the Gold or Co transporters, and then they will transport your crafts for you from any of the royal cities to Caerleon and then give it back to you for maybe like a percentage cut or a weight based cut, whatever
Wait,
the weight.
I'm sorry. Do we have what you said? We have like transporter specifically to transport stuff to the black market
Yes.
from the ATA? Okay.
From the HO, not directly. So what you could do is you can go from the HO to Fort Sterling and then from Fort Sterling to Caerleon. Those would be two separate transports.
Okay, no, I mean like let's say I craft stuff in the HQ. There's
He,
like
he,
a guy.
he asking if there is a caravan in the guild. That's what he's trying to ask. If there is a caravan, like ZBZ loot that going together and like doing the whole run for eco.
Yeah, so that the caravan thing where you are dressed in ZVZ, you're in a party of 20 people, and then you transport on boards, for example. That exists, but we haven't done it very often. We will probably be getting a routine set up for that, but that is for the management to discuss
No,
with
no,
you.
no. That's not what I'm asking. I'm asking if you said there's like a guy in the guild
Yes.
who I pay money to, or he gets a percentage cut, and I just give him the items, and he takes care of it. He goes to the black market and sell everything.
No, they don't sell it for you. What you do is, okay, so this is two separate services. One is from the hideout to Fort Sterling. This is separate also from the caravan because in caravan you don't pay, you just participate with your own stuff. In this one, where there's me, Salami, Zenus, and a few others, we take the stuff from a hideout and then we
Mm-hmm.
tell you what our quotation is for our fee, and then we transport it to Fort Sterling. If we die along the way, we pay you the full price or
Mm-hmm.
any 50% price depending on whatever our agreement was.
Oh,
That is
okay.
one service. The other service is from Fort Sterling or any other royal city to Caerleon. So what you do is you need to give the stuff to a transporter. They will instantly give you silver as collateral just in case you don't feel like you're getting scammed. Then when they reach Caerleon, they trade you back all the items you gave them, and you give them back the silver they gave you. Plus, you give them a fee, which is normally based on 15% of the market value of the items you gave them. If it's
Okay.
very low tier items, it becomes weight
Who
based
do
or
who do I talk to get into this?
me
Oh, okay.
afterwards.
Okay.
But yeah, we can go over this if you're interested, or even anybody who is interested in being a transporter. Also, please contact me. Um, okay, so coming back to the black market part, crystal weapons are not bought in the black market. So please think twice before buying a crystal weapon yourself, because then the resale value of it might be scammy. So I'm looking at the people who are buying astral stuffs, and they are now stuck with an astral stuff which is kind of Gucci and they can't sell it, aka me. Please buy please buy my astral stuff. Um yeah, okay. So another thing about black market, you can always sell a higher quality item to any of the lower quality buy orders. For example, if you end up with an outstanding or excellent item, you can easily sell it to a normal item buy order. You don't have to wait for the excellent buy order prices to rise up. There's also a branching from the black market craft based sales. There's also flipping. Flipping does not really involve any crafting for you. Basically, you just go to a market, buy an item, go to Caerleon market, buy an item, and then come to the black market and sell it. There's not much crafting involved here. There's just, you looking at a website, refreshing it every minute, and doing as it says. One of this, which I like to use or I like to recommend, is this Albion Free Market Flipper. It's really good. The only thing is you need to refresh the website every minute, every 2 minutes. And if you don't have the paid version of it, you can only make profits of 100K per item. So it will not show you anything which is like a bigger flip. But honestly, even if you're making 100K on one item by flipping it, it's a decent amount. The next thing, which is quite important, looking at the picture now, um, how do you check the market state of a higher tier item and whether or not you should craft it or whether or not you should flip it if you don't even have the item with you when you're taking it to the black market? What you do is you go to the Caerleon market, which is right next to the black market, and then you buy the flat tier 4 equivalent of that item. You take that item to the black market again, and you can then change the tier, enchantment, and quality in the sell order section of it once you try to sell it. So that way you can turn your flat tier 4 item, at least just while you're searching, to a tier 8.4 excellent item and look at the market state. So this then tells you what the last order of this 8.4 sold at, which was 42.3 million, and if there's already currently any existing sell orders for it. And you can at the same time check for any sell orders at a lower quality. So you can check excellent, you can check outstanding, you can check good, and you can check normal. So all four of these apply to an excellent crossbow. And that way you can decide whether or not you should put a sell order for it, or whether you should just come back in a few weeks and sell it directly, because then you won't have to pay the 2.5% cut either. Now, coming to the islands, but before I start here, were there any other questions about the black market specifically from what we discussed right now? I'll take that as a no. Wait, am I audible though? Did I disconnect
Yes.
again?
No. We can hear you.
Okay,
It's
okay,
okay.
perfect, perfect. I thought I disconnected again. Cool. Going now to the islands. Again, just some basic overview of the island. You need at least 7 days of premium on your character to be able to purchase personal island. And then we can look into different ways of expanding your corpus of islands under your possession. So one of the activities you can do on the island is farming. This includes crops, herbs, and animals. And the bonuses are listed here. I will not be going into what bonuses you get per city, but please note that farming can only be done on personal islands. They cannot be done on guild islands. And please do not use your precious focus on watering the plants or like caring for your animals. If you're role playing, that's fine. But if you're looking for profitability, that is normally going to cap out very soon and does not compare any way to crafting and using focus there instead. If you
What
are
about if I'm selling the seeds because I'm getting a higher percentage for watering it, right? So I'm getting more seeds. I
you
can just sell the
are
seeds.
you are getting a higher percentage probability of getting one extra seed bag, yes, but that is why I said the profitability caps out, because even if you start, let's say you have 16 plots, even if you get 144 seed bags every day, which is highly unlikely to reach a spec where you can water all of those 144 plots every day. Let's say even if you get that, you are not making enough profit every day as somebody who is just crafting is doing.
I assume that this is excluding kennels, right? Because those animals do have quite a return if you get the cubs.
Yeah. This is only including the basic animals, no canals or whatever they are, kennels, like
So
no
kennels
dire
are
wolves
like
calculation.
profitable.
Hmm?
Kennels are like profitable, unlike the
Yeah,
rest.
kennels are profitable if you can do them stably every single day. So if you can do dire wolves, if you can do like everything is profitable. And the moment you start entering tier 6 plus creatures in your kennel, you can also just start nurturing them, and that might end up giving you higher chances of a pup, and that is a bit more profitable. But again, unless you're doing mammoths or even like any other non-fast mounties thing, it does cap out pretty fast. So I wouldn't recommend this like you water something every day or you nurture something every day for making a profit, because there are much easier and much more reliable ways of doing it. Also, coming to this one again, when you're going into refining of items, because I know a lot of people who raise cows or goats or sheep end up turning their milk into butter or similar stuff. That is also very, like, it's one of those things where you can just optimize the way you're selling things, because then you end up with more resource return rate, and then that gives you more, like, on one stack you get a third of a stack more of butter, for example, and then that sells. So you can see the prices and then judge accordingly, but sometimes the prices for butter goes high in the cases of like potion crafting week, they go high, and then that gives you a lot of profitability. In other cases it goes low and you will have to wait it out for a week or two. Also, for the people who are doing animals and also crops, it is advisable to have access to a mill or a saddler on an island, because sometimes a lot of royal cities will not have a vendor who has a dedicated mill or saddler. So you can just have a guild island or even the purified guild island if we have one, and then maybe just set up a mill or saddler there for people to just come and use those services from that mill and saddler accordingly whenever they need to.
We currently only have one in the HO.
Aha, okay. Well, it doesn't take too long to set up one in the other ones. I have them in Limhurst if anybody wants access. I think you have visiting rights to my island. Purified does. So yeah, just setting them up either on your personal guild island or having access to it from a guild island is good. Now coming to laborers, you can do laborers on personal and guild islands. There is no restriction on not doing them on personal islands. But the type of laborers you would want highly depends on what type of activities you want to do. For example, if you are more into gathering and or refining, you would want a gathering based laborer, while if you are a crafter, which is quite easy, you would want to keep the crafting laborers. These laborers bring back refined items instead of bringing back raw material to refine further. The problem often with the gathering laborers is if you are not yourself a gatherer for a long time, or if you have not been placing decent buy orders, or in the discords have been placing decent buy orders for these gathering books, it could be a bit pricey if you're buying it at the market rate, because these are the books that go for 60, 70, 100k per book at like T6, T7, T8 levels. And so they are way more expensive in comparison to the crafting ones. Whereas the crafting ones, you can fill them up like 20 at a time out of 1 day's worth of focus crafting, or not even focus crafting, just normal crafting. So you are often more bottlenecked by the availability of gathering books than by the crafting books. So you might want to mix it up a bit as well. Another thing about them is furniture and furniture setup. So gathering laborers, in addition to just being able to use all the normal furniture, they are also able to use gathering trophies of their certain gathering spec. There are no such crafting trophies. So all you have for the crafting laborers is the normal set of furniture. So you have the table, the bed, and the general trophies for them. The way you want to place the laborers is, at least for a house, you want to place them like the second picture at the bottom. You don't want to place them like the first one, because the first one is looks cleaner. Yes, you're able to go into the whole house uninterrupted, but imagine doing 16 of those houses. You are kind of losing on 1 or 2 minutes per island by just walking too much. So the second way is more recommended if you just want to go fast in and out, and if you cannot just go already to the guild island level. Although houses are fine, but guild islands and the one guild hall in the center of the island is the easiest way to efficiently do laborers, because then you get to set up a guild island. You get to have also access to a central bank of that guild island, and like I mentioned, you can put a mill, you can put a saddler, and in addition you can put the guild hall in the middle, which is just a very large building like the one we have on the Purified island, and there you can place 15 laborers at once in the same building. So you can put them right next to each other in the ini format. I can show that later how it's done, but it's basically putting them in the middle of all the four pillars and just going into the center and grabbing everything and putting everything back. For laborers, I do recommend using tier X minus 1. books. Now, what this means is that if you have tier 6 laborers, you would want to use tier 5 or tier 4 journals for them because that is what gives you 150% yield on the books when they return back with it. So let's say you are crafting for the black market or just starting out crafting, you would be looking at tier 4 crafts, tier 5 crafts. In that case, it is better to have tier 5 or tier 6 laborers so that you can give them the tier 4 journals, tier 5 journals, and then they come back. The other thing with this is that as you use your laborers, they will gain experience and they will also level up. And once they level up, they obviously go up in prices. You can at any time take the laborer, pack him up into the same contract you got him from, and go and sell him to the market. So this is also something a lot of people do who are in crafting. They take maybe 3-4 weeks to level up a laborer, or sometimes even 2 months, and then they pack that high tier laborer, sell him out at the marketplace, and then come back and start anew from the same tier that they actually require. I personally have tier 6 laborers at the moment, and tier 6 is fine. And if they go to tier 7, that is also fine if I give them tier 6 journals. But the moment they become tier 8, which is the highest level, you can sell them and get maybe like a few mils worth of return on it, and then come back and start by tier 6 again. You can also, if you are tired of farming yourself or farming or taking care of your islands yourself in any way, there are people who offer, again, a sort of service to players. People can manage your islands for you. This is also applicable to the farm-based islands, not just laborer-based islands. So you can go on a lot of discords. You can also do it in-game because we currently also have a program, at least for the farming people, those who are interested, we are offering people to take care of islands and at the same time get paid for it. So you're specking up your farming spec, and at the same time you are earning a decent amount of money for like a beginner. Now coming to transport, and I've kept it short here. This is just one slide that I will go over, but later if anybody is interested, we could have a deeper dive into what sort of gear is required, what routes are required, what type of playstyle and mentality you should come with if you want to be a transporter or scout. So, transport. This is the backbone of every single econ activity in the game. You have transport from royal city to royal city because let's say you have one city would profit on refining and one other city would profit on crafting with those refined resources. So now you want to travel with it. You can either transport stuff yourself or you can transport by literally hire somebody to do it for you. Royal zone to royal zone transports, that is normally done for taking raw mats to a city with higher refine rate, and from a city with higher refine rate to a city with higher craft rate for one particular thing. This is done more or less on like a cheap budget because this is not done based on the value of your items that you're transporting, but rather on like how many zones the transporter has to travel, because it's all like blue zones, yellow zones, nothing too dangerous here. We go normally naked with just shoes and a bag. So this is done on a mammoth. The prices that you will get on the free market, that is on like Gold Core or any other server, is 1 million for a mammoth transport. So let's say you have a lot of heavy material, you would want a mammoth transport. So that is 1 million, and then it goes down all the way to 50K, depending on how important that person is on that Discord. In this server, in our guild, I think only Elmo is currently looking at mammoth transports because he has a mammoth and he wants to do it. So I think he is offering discounted rates, so less than 1 mil per person, per transport, sorry. And The other way of doing transport, which does not require mammoth, let's say you're just transporting gear and it's more of a slot problem than a weight problem, you can hire somebody to do that as well on like around 200K, 100K, something like that per city hop. The other aspect of transport is now the lethal zone transport. Like this includes transporting from Brazilian to any royal city, from a hideout to any royal city, or from any royal city to Caerleon, aka the black market. These are the three more in demand transport services, I would say. And this requires you to also wear certain type of gear, wear certain type of spec as well, because the higher spec you go, at least on your gear, you get tankier and you get better at also just using it. So what you want, at least for a black zone transport or a red zone transport, is to have a mount, again with this passive called courier. You do not want an ox or a bear normally, because those, once you're dismounted, you are just standing still, you cannot run anymore. So you want something like an elite wild boar, which is a tier 8 boar, or you want something like a spirit boar, which is the new addition this month, I think, which now gives you the invisibility as well, which is super nice for around 1200 to 1500 carry weight. If you want, super nice to also use that. The other mounts you would want is a frost ram, if you want something that is a bit better than a boar, but not as better when it comes to carry capacity. And obviously, you can use the Elite Winter Bear, but use it at your own risk, because it does, in a way, slow you down, because it also does not have the gallop. Weekends, definitely more risky. Prime time, definitely more risky. Avoid weekend, avoid prime time if you can. Wait for proper AVA roads to show up, which are like that good connections from, let's say, one hop to a safe zone or one hop to Caerleon. Those are the ideal ones. And obviously for for red zone transports, wait for the bandit event to come, because the moment bandit starts and all the factions start raiding the red zones, you will end up seeing them also policing all the gankers in the roads. So you could wait out for that. Otherwise, what you could also do, if you cannot wait around for it, get some scouts either from the guild or from your trusted friends. Have them wear some proper gear, which helps them help you escape in case people come at you. And they can also shot call for you for whether or not there are scouts on some doors or scouts at the gate or gate gankers or any PK happening in any zone. Another point to mention here, we in Purified are also looking for transporters, as we did discuss earlier as well. So if you're interested in transporting or interested in scouting, either for private transports or for guild transports, we do pay quite well. From the guild side, we get a 5% cut and the transport gear to transport the guild items from hideout to our guild island, and that 5% is then split up into the people who were in that transport party. So that's normally 2 or 3 people, so 1 scout, 1 transporter, or 2 scouts, 1 transporter, something like that. The other one is obviously going to be 15%, 12%, something around that range, if we are doing private transports for somebody who is interested in hiring. So yeah, do reach out for that. Now coming to the PvP econ, which is now completely different from just the crafting econ. We have 2 solo PvP ways, in a way. So we have the Mists, we have the Corrupted. And this time when I say Mists, I'm now referring to the lethal Mists that you can enter through Brazilian, if you have already unlocked Brazilian. Or you can also go to a red zone and go to a Mist, and that would also be a lethal Mist. The Corrupteds are the same. The lowest level Corrupted would be non-lethal, but after a certain level of infamy, you are able to go to Stalker and Slayer level difficulties in Corrupteds, which would also mean more difficult bosses and mobs and people with higher IP, which you fight with. So there are often bills with low budget. I haven't pasted them here, but really, just like if you're starting out at 20K, you can get the very lowest random build. Did I disconnect?
No.
Nope.
Okay.
No. Someone else.
Good to know. So it's if you're just starting out at tier fours, just go for like the lowest build you can find. If not, there are also several builds you can find at 4.1, 5.1. Philo as well helped me figure out a few of those builds a few days ago, and I'm sure a lot of other people in this guild who are running mists on a regular will be way more equipped to help you in that than me. Um, the other point, yes, so you do want to go to the mist from Brazilian because that is the most convenient route back and forth. If you die, you can just go again. You don't have to go around a zone to find the mist. And with Corrupteds, the best place to go to Corrupteds is from Caerleon because then, let's say you do end up looting someone and you do end up getting a gear, you can R back, or you can just come straight back in and then put all that stuff either on the player market, so Caerleon market, or on the black market directly. This is also what people do when they do some HCs, and they are the map runners. So they do the same thing. They go out to HCs from Caerleon, and then they can flip everything and instantly make a profit instead of having to do transport. You could follow the meta builds that are available. I will, in a few slides, show you some of the online tools that track the meta builds. Or you could also follow some off meta builds, which I believe you should do because meta is just, the same 3 or 4 items every time, and they often have the same predictable fights every time. But if you do go off meta, you can sometimes get the meta player by surprise, and that often gives you better odds of winning. Yes, and the last point is map awareness. Really, always, this is a MMO game. Be aware of all your surroundings. Make sure you know what your escape routes are at all times. We have also recently started doing more Hellgates and Hellgate practices. So that would be something maybe you could reach out to Trini for to check up on the builds required and the strats later if you're interested in doing the lethal Hellgates soon after. Now,
Yeah.
ganking. What we do a lot in this guild, I feel, because we have a lot of nice shot callers and content leaders like Shore and Spaniard who run regular ganking sessions. And Shore also has a variant of his ganking session where he invites even newbies who can only afford 4.1 gear and come ganking. So you can find his bills also in the bills section, and I've also just pasted something that Trini had posted earlier for the 4.1 bills. But yeah, keep checking the events or just correspond with Shore or Spaniard and just know when their next ganking session might be or when their next CTA session might be, and they will let you know. From my experience, it has been every single day, and now with the ZVZ and faction ZVZs coming up, we are also more involved in that. Um, but yeah, ganking is fun. Ganking is more unreliable income, I would say, but you do end up making big profits. I think only 2 days ago, a few people from our guild ganged a whole transport caravan and they ended up with 35 or 40 mil. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that was what they ended up with after that ganking session.
It was 34 million.
Amazing. So yeah, also just one thing, and I cannot emphasize this more. Just please press and hold tab while zoning to different zones. This way you skip the whole cinematic blurring effect that you witness, and also it calms your superstitious nerves. But it does work, and it makes you faster at zoning through, and that way it could give you 1 or 2 seconds of advantage over the person you're either chasing or running away from. Factions EDC. I hope everybody has a faction they are with. If not, I would highly encourage you to align yourself with one faction. Naturally, since we are in Fort Sterling, all of us, I would say join Fort Sterling. You can also join any other faction that is not dependent on what your guild does, really. It's all independent. But please don't join Thetford. Thetford suck. So join anything else if you want, but not Thetford. It has not a good funding right now. They are trying to work it out.
You're traumatized.
Yes,
What's going on with
um,
Thetford?
definitely. Yeah. So
User
there is a
disconnected from
lot
your
of things
channel.
you can do in the faction, which don't necessarily mean that you need to go zerging or you need to go do bandits all the time. You can just faction flag and go gathering. Just be aware that anybody who is faction flagged for a different faction and he comes across you, he will see you as a red. So he can either knock you down in a non lethal zone or kill you in a lethal one. So make sure you don't faction flag unprepared. But if you do go for faction, you will end up with the chests for the faction, which are also as juicy as the other chests you get for your premium challenge, whatever Conqueror's challenge it's called, I guess. And the points you get for a faction you can use for claiming hearts or claiming mounts, which can then add instantly to your profitability. So I think the amount I have right now is easily 200 to 500k worth in silver.
I mean, if you're looking at profitability, then most likely it's either Crest or Hearts. That's usually the more raw silver-wise. You can go for the chest if you want to more about the fame books, but also give you a more variety. And yeah,
The
I think
monk.
she's talking about the rewards, not the the shop in the faction. Yeah,
yeah,
I'm not sure.
the rewards of it, and generally when the bandit you get a like a huge bonus of any type of capping or any type of killing. You know, and if it goes well, you can go end up with 100k points, which
Oh
is
yeah. Yeah.
really good, even a really good day.
Hmm. No, completely agree. So just to also bring it to your context, I'm standing at 116k points. This is after two bandits I attended. One of those bandits was kind of a dud because nobody really challenged us, and the second one we actually zerged and fought. So it is easy to find points, and it's also easy to then claim the chest because all you need to do is just show up maybe once a day or once every week, whatever you're feeling like. And the additional bonus, if you do have fast fingers, once you do kill somebody in a Zerg, you can also loot them. I am very, very, very slow at looting, so I just don't. I just don't even bring a bag because I know I will not loot anything. But that has been also a source of profit for a lot of people to get millions if the CTA goes right. And currently, we have some really strong shot callers in the faction ZVZ. One of them, Roger, is also here, and I think Aqua also joined. So those are the two shot callers for Fort Sterling who are also in our Discord at the moment. So feel free to reach out to them for any advice, any tips, and also joining them whenever they do bandits. And if for ZVZs, which I have also learned very recently because I'm not a PvP player at all, it's if you can make WODs of yourself, like recordings of your place from your point of view. You can come out and reach out to anybody later, so any of the shot callers or Trini, and if you do reach out to Trini, he will teach you about his legendary banana positioning. But if you do reach out to other shot callers as well, you open
Sounds a
WODs.
bit sexual.
Whatever floats your boat. Your one, not mine. There we go.
Well, you can find out yourself.
Shit.
So yeah, just
Sounds even more sexual.
Just give you just get his banana. Don't worry about it.
You're getting banana, man. Okay.
Is it weird if I like it? Oh my god.
yeah, just remember, since even this season, I think we want to promote our ZVZ development as a guild. It would be really helpful for us to also come up with our own WODs and bring them up to the content leaders or shot callers and get them to assess us. Because I know a lot of you are already seasoned in ZVZ, but it doesn't matter and it doesn't hurt to make a WOD of it and then have people tell you what you could have possibly done better. Because if we can learn what each of us does and what our playstyle is in a ZVZ, we can probably synchronize better in them later on when it's also needed.
Also, if you want to level up your new specs, bandits are excellent for this. The chests that you can take on a weekly basis are going to give you 100 spec if you keep coming with it. And if you go purely for books, even more so.
Amazing. Cool. Yeah, so just now to just go over two of the tools that I know about for PvP, and please, any PvP experienced veteran, please call me out if these are not the tools I should be
Yeah,
looking
these
at.
are not updated. I don't think these are
This is
good.
not updated?
Amir, wait, what did you say? Sorry.
No, don't look at the picture. Don't look at the picture. Just look at the links right now because I
No,
did just
no, I know. It's I'm not sure if the even the link is good. Sonino, do you think this is updated meta?
The what? Sorry. I didn't hear
Albion
you say.
Online 2D.
because
No,
there's
No.
these two. There's the Murder
I know
Ledger.
a lot of Albion Online
Murder Ledger
2D
is
is like a
okay, yeah.
Ah, you're
out
speaking
of
about
date.
Uh-huh.
no, there is a new. I don't remember the name. There is a
This one?
different size from that. It's from
Yeah,
the Euro.
Murder Ledger, I think. Murder Ledger, yeah.
Yeah, Murder
Ah,
Ledger
yeah,
is up
yeah.
to date. Albion Online 2D is like a couple years out of date.
Okay, understood. So I just posted both of them because I saw Bear Paws, Dual Swords, Bloodletter, and Dead Givers, and I was like, yeah, okay, this makes sense to me. Maybe it's outdated, but I did select the Europe region. But anyway, if this is more reliable, then I would then just talk about this one. There is this tool online. Also takes up from the Albion Online to the dataset, but it's its own website. And this is synchronizing stuff also for creating a weapon matrix. Do not focus so much on the weapon matrix though, because it relies heavily on corrupted dungeon players. And yeah, like having a 75% win rate on a double bladed sword versus frost off or versus any other thing is kind of bullshit because you can always with a double bladed escape and come back at any point. So this is all just a push and pull strat you're doing in Slayers. So I would rather recommend watching the section called Streamed Fights in the Murder Ledger because there you can also see tags like IP fair and IP unfair. So you can compare people who are either just killing noobs or killing somebody of their own size. And the cool part here, which I noticed, is they also have the Twitch links. So you can click on that Twitch icon next to any of these kills and go straight to the point in one of the Twitch wards where this person is killing that person. So if you're interested in looking at these streamers killing somebody, this Murder Ledger is the finest place to go. They also have one of these meta build section in their own thing. So yeah, check that one out.
May I come in before you change it? There's also another option you can look for meta builds in the mist. Albion meta slash mist builds. I think this is a general helpful guide for
Okay.
what's meta
What was
in the
that?
mist.
Albion Meta?
Albion meta. Meta.
.com? Well,
Yeah.
Amazing. Okay. Yeah,
There's
did not
also
know that.
given like a in-depth details. I think it's managed by Professor Pew Pew, if I'm not
Yeah, yeah,
mistaken.
you're right. You're right.
Yeah,
Okay. Cool. Yeah, you can
and
clearly tell I am not a PvP player. I literally whipped this up with the last knowledge I had. But
yeah,
no, thank you for
yeah,
contributing.
it's only missed, but yeah,
yeah.
yeah, okay.
But Mist is the new corrupted, so that is also a good place to do solo econ. Coming now, just very briefly to PvE, and trust me, this will just take 10 minutes, and then we have just two more slides, and then it's all over. So feel free to ask any questions, feel free to interrupt me, feel free to say you don't like this. um, First, going to Dungeons and Roads. There is solo
Interruption.
dun. Sorry,
I just said it. Feel free to interrupt you. I'm sorry.
I couldn't understand.
Don't worry about it.
Okay, so first, the solo dungeons. There is a 90-second rule when you enter a solo dungeon that it only vanishes from the outside after the 90 seconds. So what you want to do is stay in a solo dungeon near the entry point and wait it out in your PvP combat abilities in case anybody enters. And after the 90-second timer is up, you are free to do your PvE at your own pace. So nobody is going to come in. Um, what I do recommend for the solo dungeons and what I have seen a lot of people who like solo dungeoning do is they buy 8.1, 8.2, sometimes even 8.3 maps from people at obviously a discounted market price rate, and then they just do that around their hideout zones. So normally, from what I have heard, is that it does give you much more profitability than, at least it breaks even for the price of the map once you
Usually
profit.
it's tier 8 and tier 7 to be profitable.
I've also
Tier
seen 8.1 be very profitable reliably.
8.1 is like a little of risk. You can actually lose. But if you like get luck, so you can make like nice money.
Okay.
I think it depends where you buy the maps from as well. Like some of the places will charge you like 100 or something K for the maps, where you other towns you can get them for like 70, 80K.
Oh yeah, only recommend doing this if you can buy it off a player directly for 10%, 20% off market. So either if you loot it yourself from doing ABBAs, doing solo dungeons, because you can also loot maps sometimes, or you can buy it off players for a discounted rate. So it is, I have at least heard, because I do have reliable buyers who keep buying 8.3, 8.2, 8.1 from me, mostly 8.1s though. So 8.1, sure, go for it. I think 7 flat you can also open in our zone if you're lucky. So yeah, try that out. And there's less danger in solo dungeons than there is in groups and Ava roads, because the other two types do not close ever. Like Ava roads is out in the open, and group dungeons never close basically. So you can always risk somebody dungeon diving you at any point while doing so. Statics are their own creed of dungeons, I would say. They just exist all the time, and sometimes they're connected over different maps, which is also a fun thing I learned, where just because statics can sometimes span different zones, you can enter the static from one side and escape through another, and suddenly now you have entered a new zone. So that helps a lot of people, um, in case there's high ganking activity in one zone and not in the other. They can easily go to a static if they have a tank or at least a reset set, and then they can go through. If you don't have a tank, and or if you don't have the proper boots, I wouldn't recommend going through statics just to enter another zone. You're better off going the normal way. With Also with statics, I think Voldemort and Trini did also share like proper builds, or even encourage people to come with whatever they want to fame farm, especially ZVZ builds, so that you can go to statics, get some fame, level things up quickly, while also getting a decent amount of tomes and yeah, other stuff. So yeah, do keep an eye out for their announcements. And also, if you need any advice on statics in particular, reach out to them. There is the other thing that people love to do from Brazilian now, so not from hideout zones, not solo, from Brazilian this time. You can easily go duo in roads, or 5-man, 6-man, 10-man in roads. I wouldn't recommend 10-man though because of the portal limit, so maximum try to do 7-man, ideally 6, but with higher IP. And what you can do here is you can take proper builds. So in a solo, you can just take a slightly PvP ish thing as well. So you can go and clear out green chests in a decent IP. But if somebody is also coming at you, you can also just brawl them for a bit. That is ideal. In duos, what I have personally seen work, and please feel free to give your own inputs as well, but what I have seen work is the Blood Moon stuff and Nature, because those two can easily do PvE as well as PvP. And the Nature often heals, while the Blood Moon often just splash damages everything around him. And if people underestimate the power of this duo, they also end up ganking the gankers in a way.
Yeah, it's usually the nature is going with blight stuff, and if they are good players and they are in high IP, they can wipe out a group as well with just
Great
two
nature,
people.
not
I
blight.
would
Right? I
personally,
thought it was blight.
Great
personally,
Oh,
nature,
I
it's
great
great
would
nature.
nature.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
personally I would do Iron Root though if it's just a duo, because in a duo with Iron Root you can also just Iron Root yourself as a healer to the Blood Moon, and that ends up giving you both a lot of sustain.
But you don't heal as much, and people take great nature to do like high tier chests, like blue chests, for example, in Valonians with two people of tier 8
Mm.
and stuff.
I mean, you can do one-handed nature, and you can like if you take two person with one-handed nature, you can easy clear blue chest and overroad, or take one-handed fire with a holy healer, and two people can clear a blue chest tier 6.
True. Yeah, I have definitely seen a duo clear blue chest as well with decent IP.
I've been doing blue chest as a holy healer together with a blood moon. It
That's
it works
also
fine.
good. Yeah, yeah.
Same with the shadow caller. I think can do quite a bit.
Yeah, but it goes faster with the one-handed fire stuff.
I
Okay.
mean, me and Zinnis are doing blue chest as well with some shitty gear sometimes, but with two people, but it works.
Yeah, usually we go with like 1100 IP or something. And
Yeah,
tier 6 is
that's
fine.
As a
yeah,
duo?
Yes.
yeah, as a duo.
Uh-huh, okay.
Also, if you just only want to do it solo, the best to go one-handed nature with mist color or torch, and you can easily do tier 8 chests, the solo chests.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, important. Also, just to bring up one thing again, if you are going road, please kill the hide creatures because they have also, in my opinion, a higher drop chance of giving you pups. So if you have a tier 6 Swift Claw equivalent, so the Mist Cougar, or if you have the Dire Wolf thing, kill them. And if you come across aspects, kill them too. Just like, even if you're not the gatherer for hide, just go around killing things. You will probably end up with a pup or two along the way. And then you can give those to Philo because she raises them. Or to Xenos. Whoever's trump stamp you want on those
But not to Haydek.
Specifically not
I'm just
Hayek.
joking.
No, it's okay.
I mean, what? I've been giving pups to Hader for free. What? Am I doing something wrong?
Haydak is the one who is gatekeeping the fact that sometimes from the Terry. So when we did have a Terry, you could look at the Terry stash in the hideout, and you could ask the management to give you something from the Terry stash at 20% discount. And Haydak was the one secretly taking the pups, or at least asking for them. And then Alundros would tell him, "No, that is reserved for Philo."
Because I was faster.
Yeah.
Not all of it though.
No, not all of it. Yeah. If someone asked at the same time I asked, uh we would give to that person because I got it previously.
Yeah, Philo is very fair. She lets you take 20% and she takes 80%.
What?
Oh, generous.
You're generous. There we go.
So generous.
What?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Sometimes I take it as my ZVZ re-gear.
Okay, Fido. Okay.
I see, I see. Okay, let's just wrap this up real quick in a few more slides. So our walls and our raids, which is the new big shiny thing also for us, and also because a lot of our guildies have now reached a point in their fame where they have a decent spec and something. There are three types of runs for our raids. I bet a lot of you have already witnessed two types by now. So there is a skip, there is a 10-man, and then there is a 20-man. It all happens in the same avid dungeon. It's not like there are different avid dungeons for it. It's just that for the skip, you normally go with a lower tier dungeon, so it's easier for you to also clear the end boss. And the skip is only done to get the Avalonian buff, which, if you want to know, is the most important buff. It's just that for the skip, you normally go with a lower tier dungeon, so it's easier for you to also clear the end boss. And boosts your combat fame for 7 days by 10%. So this is combat fame from PvE and PvP, but not anything like gathering. It is just combat specific. This buff, so a lot of people just do the skip for it because they don't really want to clear a raid in like an hour, hour and a half just to clear it. They just skip all the mobs with their escape sets and then sorry the skip sets, and then they go to the end boss and they just kill the end boss and drink the soup at the end. Obviously, because you have skipped mobs, you cannot open any chests, so you are still just going there for the soup, nothing else. You won't make any silver during this process, really. The 10 mans is more of an elite version of average, I would say, because you are doing a 20-man large dungeon as a 10-man, so you have to bring better IP, more point 0.1, point 0.2 foods, and also bigger pots for it. But in the end, this is the most high yield. If you are, doing 8.3 10 mans, 8.2 10 mans, highest yield here, because then the loot that was supposed to go to 10 to 20 people now goes to 10 people. So it's just doubling your loot as well as your fame. The 20-man standard is what we do. So like 20-man, 19-man, it's all the same to me. But yeah, so that one is what normally you will see happening whenever people are calling for Ava raids and calling for massing for it. This happens in a lot of our discords. By the way, whoever can type the discord link first into their discord and go to there, this is one valid link to the Ava discord from me. So whoever is fast can enter it. I will refer you. Okay, so the 20-man. Oh wow, I forgot English. The 20-man comp is the standard that people refer to. It includes one tank, one off tank, one main healer, 2 or 3 additional healers, a great arcane, one hand arcane. What else am I forgetting? BMS, Iron Root swap, and just like Iron Roots as the healers basically, and then they swap out for bosses. Realm Breaker sometimes not really needed in my opinion, but yeah, it often comes along. And you can also have other optional stuff like a Spectre jacket or other DPS really. So in a 10-man, it's more tight because you cannot go with everything. You probably just end up with 1 or 2 healers maximum, if at all. But in the other one, it's a bit more chill because, yeah, you know that you have enough healers to sustain everybody and you have enough mana to sustain everybody. So you can lax out a bit. You don't always have to go with the Gucciest consumables and pots in the 20-man. So there is the ABBA Discord, like I talked about. This is one very closed Discord. Basically, you can only enter it through invites, like the one I posted, and you need a referral. So the way it probably works, Trini, correct me if I'm wrong, but you are also our guild representative, so you can bring people in additionally and vouch for them as a guild, not as Trini, but as a guild, you can vouch for them.
Yeah.
So that way, we can not just give you invites from one individual to another, but we can invite you like, hey, this person is from Purified and he is a decent player, and then you can come in. So yeah, please feel free to reach out to Trini, particularly if you want referrals to that one. There are Avalonian raids happening every day. You just have to pay at the end your part of the map fee to the shot caller, so the raid leader. And sometimes there are concepts like if you do less DPS than 5%, you have to pay double. But trust me, that has barely been um, utilized. So they will threaten you with that, but it's just shits and giggles most of the times. There is a DPS meter, which is not just a DPS meter, it also tracks your fame and your silver per hour in a way. So that is a good tool in case none of you have it. You could just go to this GitHub link and install that on your computers, and this will then link directly to your Albion game and observe your screen. So it is completely legal, it's not an illegal tool at all. You can use it, you can share it with your friends, and it works really good. Also, to mention, we have also started doing Ava skips and 10-man Avas and maybe even 20-man Avas for a while with Voldemort. So he is someone who was in Smurfing Monkeys and he was also doing Ava raids for them. And now he is in our guild and he also wants us to be Ava raiders basically. So his normal format was 10 man, which he loves doing. So if you can over time, like I think eventually, since we have only done 2 or 3 hour raids by now, the next few ones will also be a bit of a learning experience hour raids in a way. So you can definitely join those and learn the mechanics, learn the builds, learn your rotations. And then maybe it will go and lock itself at 10 man. So then it would try to not so it would be a bit tougher at the end once we have everything going. So if you join now, it's much easier for you to learn and be a part of the whole Ava reading community in Purified. Coming to HCs, these are the high level expeditions that happen at the portal by this nice portal lady. What you get at the end of expeditions is also the sigil. So this is where the sigils come from. You cannot loot sigils from any dungeon. You get them from doing these expeditions. Um, so you can start doing HCs basically now, but you would probably be end up doing the lower level. So it goes from level 1 through 1920, etc. I think 18 is the highest I have done personally and stopped at because it does end up taking a lot of time at the end once you're going 5 man. So this is a 5 man thing, completely safe in the royal city. You don't have to step in any dangerous zones. But if you do not already have a group, it is a bit harder to find one. There are these 2 discords, and I will recommend the first one. So the HCE community is a bit better than the HCE discord because both of these are open, but HCE community is based around a guild that does HCEs. So you will end up finding a few people there who do this regularly and are also nice. And then they also have a shaming um, subsection where they actually shame people for being bad or being rude or not being decent in the raid. So then it kind of ensures that there is some quality to it, but also don't bet your horses on it. I would though recommend, like, if anybody is interested in HCs, I am. We can form a group in our guild, and we can also start a side HC thing within our guild where we have one reliable tank, one reliable healer, and the DPSs are normally Shadowcaller, Crossbow, and Frost. Although Frost is not taken that much, but you can definitely DPS with it. Normally, they just take crossbows and one Shadowcaller. Coming now to the player psychology and the player market, which is something that is not directly influenced by SBI and their rates. This is completely based on players and how they go and how they feel. One of the biggest things here is referral skins. This is a vanity item you get for a mount normally once you refer a friend to this game and he starts playing and he gets his first 1 month premium. Or if you don't have friends because you don't have a life, because you don't play anything else or go outside and just play Alpine all day, you can also refer yourself but with an alternate email address. So you take your referral link, you have another email address, and basically you create a new independent alt but with a new separate email address, and then you can give it your own 15, 16 mil for a premium. And then once you give premium to that alt account, it gives you instantly in your first account the referral skin for that month. I wouldn't recommend making more than one alt every month, and I would recommend you to wait out for the months where fast mounts are getting skins or mooses, because moose, so basically moose or stag or Normally, cougar and what's the other one? Direwolf. Those things, when they get skins, those skins sell for at least the amount you bought the premium for, so around 15, 16 mil or higher. The current season skin at the moment, the mummy skin for a Swiftclaw, is currently selling at 11 mil. But if you sit on it for a few months, it is like a long term investment. Its price will rise. It won't go down because obviously there is no more means for people to get skin anymore. So the quantity will only reduce after a point after the end of this month. So that's what some people do. They literally just create one alt every month. That way you're getting one more alt with premium on it. So that means focus for either refining or crafting. You're getting a personal island if you want to invest in one. That way you can either use a personal island for farming or you can rent it out to somebody for around 400, 500K a month, sorry, a week. So then you end up with 2 mil every month return on that island. So you are kind of making an investment here. Don't see it as a waste of money. It is effort. It is, just like you need to create accounts. You need to get your husband to give you his email, for example, sometimes. But yeah, it is an investment. Um, the next thing, Discord marketplaces. Already covered this in the OTC part. However, there is definitely a marketplace for services that you offer, like the transport one, like island manager jobs, etc. So you have a reliable source in Discord to also go to people and just be like, hey, I don't have premium, but I would like to transport for you. Or I don't have premium, but I would like to scout for your transport. Boom, easy 500K per scout. Or if you're transporting, boom, easy 2 mil minimum for one transport to Caerleon. So that is again an option which is completely available even to people who don't have premium, by the way. So feel free to reach out to me if you're interested in the transport line, or just figure it out in some of the discords that I have shared and will be sharing the links again. Then there is events and the hype. So we all know the most recent event was anniversary. A and B, it was the season chest. Kind of came around the same time. Two different things though. So we literally witnessed a double event happening. The season chest give you rewards in crystal gear, crystal shards, crystal artifacts, as well as mounts, the battle mounts. Since this was the first season for us, it was the first time battle mounts were introduced to Europe, which means everything that entered the market was actually overpriced because of the hype. Same with the crystal artifacts that were currently released. So the new ones. When it first came out, there were insane prices for everything and people profited. So it was so sparse, the market, and the hype was so big that everybody was buying a tier 4 flat or tier 4.3 um whatever that blade is called. Please help me. The reaper, the scythe, crystal scythe,
Crystal Reaper.
Crystal Reaper.
crystal reaper, thank you. People were buying that for 2 mil, 3 mil, 4 mil, 5 mil in the first 30 minutes of the drops. Then people dropped it down to 1 mil, 500K ranges. And now I think it is sitting around 200K still, or 100K. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it should be around 200K now. Because then the prices of the artifacts kept dropping, the more ingestion came in to the markets. But there was a point where clueless beginners who had no idea but received a few of these crystal items or crystal artifacts pawned it off at the same time in the market for 20K, 30K each. So there's one person who is selling these artifacts for 1 mil, and then another who is selling it for 20, 30K, instantly got bought, instantly got upmarketed, and instantly got sold again at a higher price point. So people were making bucks that day. Same with the current event, although this one is more of a slow burner with the cake. Cake is currently giving you insane fame for gathering, crafting, and
Anything not
um,
PvP.
yeah, everything basically, even farming, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
everything non PvP.
Yeah, so because it's a slow burner, what this means is that people are using it for 2 weeks. So it's a 2 week long event. It stays here for a few more days. And people are now using it to get their crafting fame high, meaning they are exhausting raw material from markets at the moment. Meaning raw materials at the moment price going up, and crafted material price at the moment price going down, which will decrease even further after the event, because people who have been crafting and hoarding right now will start gradually trickling their craft into the market. So the best time to sell your raw material would be now, basically. Like, I know people who are having difficulty buying raw material for crafting fish sauce, because even fish sauce prices are going very high because people are crafting point ones a lot. Same thing once the anniversary event ends, we are looking straight up at the next event, which would be the next season start, which is again a very important point for alliances and guilds, because that's around the time where you will also see a surge in ZVZs happening, and because new alliances are either being created or have already been at work, and there will just be a surge in ZVZs happening. So that is a perfect point to go around in different cities and start distributing ZVZ gear or distributing pots and food. Just another way of understanding player psychology. The next event, which will also correspond with this, is the update. I don't know if it already came to us or if it comes up, but the next patch drops where tier 4 items will also get all the abilities, for example. That will also shape the way people anticipate how the market will go and how that reaction will lead the market to actually form as.
I believe the next update is on Monday.
Monday?
I believe so.
Yeah, I thought it was 22nd as well. We see how it goes, although it maybe doesn't change much, then maybe just one or two meta swapping out. We see. But yeah, I currently have no speculation on how it will go in the next 2 days. I do have a speculation on the next season start though. So that's what I just explained as well. Next is the gold market. Now, this is more for the elite people, but just mentioning, avoid avoid selling gold around the 1st and around the 15th, so like plus minus 2 days of the month, because you want to also know that there are some people who swipe in the game, and a lot of people swipe monthly based on whenever they are getting their salaries, and normal salary periods are either around the 1st or either around the 15th in most countries. So then once they are swiping, there is a high demand for gold, and they are trying to sell their gold out to get silver. So there is a huge supply of gold around those times, like not significantly huge, but still subtle, but still there. And that's the time when they're trying to sell it, it matches the prices, and then the price goes down. So you would ideally want to avoid just events like these, and calculate this into whenever you want to sell silver, sell gold, whatever. Oh yeah, also about the gold market, there are also people who manipulate the gold market a lot by flooding it with a lot of gold or by flooding it with a lot of silver. So then they are actually influencing the gold prices. But that is something mostly that people at the whale level can do. People who are between or under 500 mil or 1 billion cannot really even do it to a significant degree and constantly. So even if there is manipulation in the market, you can see the trend going high or like surging. You can stop or you can give in, whatever you want to do. But oftentimes the surge comes down to a stable amount again. It's normally a gradual rise than a sudden rise. So don't give in to a sudden rise and stuff.
Gold flipping is something you can do. but when you have a fresh account, you have a limit in the amount of gold that you are able to buy and sell. I believe you can always sell, but you cannot always, or you cannot always buy, one of the two. I think you can only sell a certain amount.
There's a limit to the sell
Yeah.
amount.
So if you want to get rid of that limit, you actually have to do purchases from their in-game store.
Yeah, so basically you need to swipe for actual gold to get stuff.
Yeah, or buy a pack or something.
Hmm.
But you can make profit, and if you keep an eye out on the market, you can make a few 100,000 silvers just by flipping while you're doing some gathering in the yellow zones or something. If you want to do chill play, you can still do it,
Yep, yep.
especially later in the evening or night.
Oh, nice. There's also another thing with gold. So think of it like an investment in something that keeps growing. So it's kind of like investing in the market, basically. So even if you're going on a holiday or you're going on a long break from Albion, you don't know when you will return. The easiest thing for you to do is put all your silver in gold and then leave, because you don't know how the market value of your items will be, but gold will either be steady or will rise with the inflation of. Now, the last slide is just some tips or just some pointers on low effort versus min maxing things. This is not a complete list in any way. It's just listing out some minimal things you can do if you don't want to spend a lot of time trying to get an econ set up. For low effort, let's go over that first. You could rent out your assets. Your assets include items as well as property. Mostly what you do is you rent out property, not your items. So you rent out your islands to people. You could either do this by either renting it out directly, so you have, let's say, a tier 6 island already, so a maxed out personal island, and you can rent it out to somebody for around 400k median, and upward up to like 500k, sometimes lower based on which city you're in. But yeah, normally they sell out for 500k. The Carleon ones go for 200k per month, per week. So that's why I would not recommend you to create islands in Carleon unless you want to use it for yourself, because they have a lower market value than any other city. Every other city has a median of 400k per week income. You could also do something like hiring island managers. So this is again you not having to do the farming or nurturing yourself, but you will still have to set it up. So you will have to dedicate a chest or some accessible storage which some other island manager can access, and then you will have to provide them seeds or plants or even laborer books, and you will be paying them out, but in turn they're actually bringing you more profit than you're paying them in any case. The second thing you can do is selling focus. Let's say you have already specced up a tree to a decent amount, especially for crafting. What you can do is go on any of those OTC trading discords, even Gold or Co, and just go to selling focus tab and be like, I want to sell focus for sword crafting, 300 per focus point, 500 per focus point, something like that. And then you can end up using your focus and still earning around 1 to 2 mil for it. And this is something which needs no previous transports or planning or material possession. You can just say you're here to sell your focus. The other person has to now provide you the mats and everything so that you can craft. Third is market flipping. Very easy. We also discussed this, so I will not touch upon this that much. Just keep an eye out for the seasonal changes and the hype bubbles, because logging in one day for 30 minutes can profit you more than you profit in the whole month, for example. And the next one is now the min maxing thing. You can make alts, but making alts around the 16th is the best time. Also, why sometimes the gold prices um, go low around that time is because people are A, they're getting their paychecks, and B, they're also making their alts around this time. And most of the time, when they're making alts, they would rather swipe than put the in-game organic silver into their alt. So here, the reason you do it on the 16th or on the 15th around that time is because once your character has a 30-day premium, he can easily get 1 month's worth of the chests from the activities by just logging in every day and doing the daily bonus. And second, when it starts for the second month, you can also easily do the first two um, weeks of it. So that way you are still making back around 2 to 2.5 mil easily, including the mount. And for the tryhards out there, if you have this, you could also in the second month, 2 weeks, in those 2 weeks, you can still easily get the mount from the bonus. So you would have to play a bit more on that alt, but that's solely up to you. And if you do, you will end up getting the mount by filling up the keys. But it's not really necessary. But yeah, if you're a tryhard and if you have the time to do it, just do it. On the other hand, you can also use the alts focus, and that also boosts your profit from that alt. Normally, what you could do is make furniture, make tools, make anything. And normally, what people who are crafters do is they just take the alt, put that either directly to crafting or directly to refine the craft for them, because it is super easy to integrate a new alt in their already established pipeline than it is to think up something new. Another easy thing is to just cook in any city. You will still end up making like a small margin of profit, so you will not be losing out on it in any way. Yeah. Then the other advice from Inmax is again related to the player economy bubble is hoard your mats, hoard your craft, wait it out, sell it when the time is right. Don't just immediately try to use your 10k focus per day and immediately try to sell it. Because that way you are making money, but you are um, exposing yourself to a volatile market, which may or may not play in your favor every day. Then what you could do with the alts, right? You can make the alts, you can make one of your alts a guild leader, start a guild, create a guild island, and with that guild island comes also access to, messaging people for associate rates. So you can take that guild and message anybody who ever is the crafting station you want to craft at. And you can message them and be like, hey, could you give my crafting guild associate rates at your crafting stations? And then all he has to do is just press two buttons and then your guild is added instead of the player. So any future alt you make, you can put this alt in your crafting guild directly and then access the same rights all over instead of having to message the person again and again from every alt. The next thing is, yeah, like hauling goods is easy because it just takes time. So what you would want to do sometimes is either hire transporters or haul stuff yourself. Sometimes hauling is profitable. Let's say you already own a mammoth and you are not utilizing it completely. What you could do is you can haul it yourself from one city to another. And while doing so, you can also offer the same mammoth transport service to another person, and he can also use 50% of your mammoth's carry weight. So it's kind of like a carpool for mammoth, and you benefit off it. Then with PvP, so what I have noticed, and it is kind of genius but also kind of meh, is there are people who go into solo dungeons, wait it out, put a naked scout or like one of their alt accounts on an ox a in a zone. They go to the solo dungeons and they wait on one of those soup buffs. In the solo dungeon you can get some buffs which give you either reflect, or they give you healing, or they give you movement speed and bloodthirst, something like that. They wait on that soup, and when their scout spots anyone coming around, or I've also seen them going for factioners. So they waited out in a solo dungeon, and as soon as they see one of those faction outposts getting attacked, or they see somebody Gucci crossing around, they'll exit the solo dungeon with the soup now that they take, and they will have roughly 1 or 2 minutes of that buff on them still once they leave. And then they just go brawling the person. So that's kind of like one way of getting an unfair advantage in PvP, where you just hit them out of nowhere and you're also coming in with a buff on you. The other one is just stacking weapon passives. This is what we do um, in rotations for allies and HCs. What you want to do is sometimes you have passives which require 4 of your Qs to land before it activates. So what a lot of people will do is they will keep stacking it to the third stack and wait it out until the next pull happens. And when the next mob pull happens, they have the ability immediately on them. Same thing goes with druid druid robe as well, where you can stack up to 6. And same thing goes with royal robe as well, where you can launch the circle before a mob pull, so you're already building up the stacks. And once you're at the max stack, then immediately you start attacking people with the max damage on you. And yeah, just min max. Always kill T6 height creatures unless you're vegan. In that case, I feel sorry for you. But yeah, that is it. I am done with the presentation. Please ask me any questions if you have.
I have to tell you something about the referral that you invite yourself. You can do it only once. If you do it like more than once, it's bannable.
You can
Like
do it every month, but yeah, but what you can do is in your second account, you can invite from the first account, and then in your third account, you can invite from the second account. So it
yeah, but
becomes like a chain.
it
Or
become
you
a
have
chain, but it's
guildies, or you have guildies that you want to work with, and you do it that way.
still you
Yeah.
need to like speak with them or send a mail or something like that. Like if you like doing like more than once. Like still, if you're doing the chain, they still gonna can ban you all. Like it's not a problem.
Yeah, I know that it is said that it is bannable, but honestly, I know way more important people who have connections with SBI and still have 30 alts of their own. And I personally had 15 in NA as well without any problem. So sure, like I'll put a cautionary risk there. Do it at your own risk, but you can do it.
It's okay. It's bannable, but I don't see an enforcement towards it.
One of my buyers that I usually buy bars from here, he got banned. Like he had like 40 or 15 alts. So in Europe, I mean.
Hmm.
So he got banned like yesterday or 2 days ago, something like that, 3 days ago.
Was the reason RMT or was the reason all?
It's no, it's like because of the alt itself. He got a chain ban. Like every single alt that he had and the main got banned.
Yikes, okay.
You know.
I had a similar situation when I had like 45 alts on West. I reduced my amount to like 30 something, but 5 of my alts previously got banned because of suspicion kind of activity.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing basically laborers, refining, crafting, whatever, and cooking. SBI kind of marked me as a suspicious person, but when I provided sufficient evidence that that's not the case, they unbanned my alts. So
But you did tell them those were your alts.
yeah, I provided every single evidence that those were just my alts, and I was just doing just regular stuff. There was nothing against terms of service, so
I think they flagged you for suspicion of RMT because that has also happened in
yeah,
this.
yeah, 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 yeah. That's what I thought. but in the end, you have to fight back. Whenever you get banned or flagged, if you provide sufficient evidence, you are not going to be banned forever. That's what I'm just trying to tell you.
Yep, true.
Um,
At least for the RMT cases, it's very straightforward. You provide like there are false flags a lot for RMT because also I know a very high level transporter on Gold or Co who was himself a billionaire and he also transports for billionaires on the server and he got flagged for RMT because one time when they were exchanging the payment it was a high amount, so then he got flagged for it and then he had to provide them of the, so he didn't get banned for it, he just got flagged for it and then he had to get in touch with the SBI people and prove his case. But yeah, ever since then he has been doing smaller trades basically, and we
Yeah.
also log everything so it's a lot of evidence for it.
Yeah, and also people are just jealous of you. If you make a lot of money, they will probably report you because they're jealous and they're just paranoid that you are doing some shady shit.
I see. Did anyone else have something to say? I heard a voice.
yeah. Well, about this specific. First of all, thank you for
Hi,
this.
Haydak.
Hey. Thank you.
Yeah, good
I
job.
came
Good
in.
job on.
Yeah,
Yeah, thank you very much.
crazy amount of. All I want to do is take my money and start doing shit in real life so I can swipe, so I can flip. No.
Easy.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you're not making much by just being the gatherer that you are.
I am not a gatherer. That's the point. I gathered till T7 and I stopped. And now I'm actually I've got 2 islands now. I'm making good money, to be honest. I started buying. So what I wanted to say was I missed the train. If I had this a week ago, I would have thought about this, but I was part of the shift in this event and I missed it. So I bought a bunch of fawns to make stags for myself, and it was 45k, even 40k. I bought around 100. They are 85k now, even 90 in buy orders. So it's literally double. It's just crazy. It hurts me. It hurts me just to see the price right now. So I kind of missed that train. And if I
Wait,
had this, huh?
sorry, fawns are doubled in price
Yeah.
or
Fawns were 45k, but when you have an event that gives you an extra 15%, people will use that to farm fawns, and that will give you special mob um, fame efficiency, I
yeah,
guess. So
farm fame, yeah.
yeah, so I already got my special mounts bullshit thing to like a 400 fame every tick, like every click, which is for me amazing. In reality, it's nothing. But if I knew about this, I would literally put all my money into fawns and maybe even sell them. But I make right now for the 100 I bought, I'm making 60k per fawn. Plus, I get more because of fame, because of well, I make more fawns. So just knowing about this and knowing what event will come and how you can try and manipulate it could be
Yeah.
really beneficial. If I knew this before, I would be all over it and be a fucking
But
billionaire now.
it's all in the like every single MMO is like that, like the part of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, it's also the same if you guys know about this other MMO called Path of Exile, and every
Mm-hmm.
few
Yeah.
seasons a new season starts, and so by now all the veteran players who still keep playing because they're sadists know what player economy works like.
Hey, I resemble that statement.
Okay.
I am that.
I am that. We okay. We also have like I can do additional little side thing here. We do also have a crafting sheet made by Grimson, in which I think is probably one of the best crafting sheet or easy ones to use. It gives you a lot of control, a lot of benefit on what you can do with it. Although it's not as flashy and maybe it's easier to use as Goldium, but I think it's it can technically work for any type of items. Although it requires a little bit manual thing to do. For all you have to take care or take in consideration for the crafting is the amount of resources that you want to have, like the mats, the raw mats, for example, the wood planks or bars, for if you want to craft staves. Write it down, 16 of those. Write the prices for each of those. For example, if it's cloth or whatever. Then, if there are any artifacts, meaning if it's, let's say, uh, if you want to craft occult stuff, then you have an artifact price for it. Write it down. Then the sell price for the whole item, and bada boom, bada beam, you get the total profit percentage over here.
Mm-hmm.
That's all you have to consideration. You only have to do it, well, once every 2 days or 3 days, just to check the prices if it's profitable or not. And this doesn't take account of focus, meaning this is the bare minimum bar you can do in order to gain profit. And the resource return rate are calculated as you getting materials back, meaning if you have a large bulk, let's say about 50 items, you want to craft 50 items, then you can turn those raw materials to even more profit and you reuse it in one another crafting rate. And me and Grimson has been putting a lot of effort on that. Mostly Grimson for the newer one, but I think it's one of the easiest way to have a lot of control on crafting the items that you need. But yeah, generally the most important things is these columns. Then you can do whatever with that and look for the total profit. Total profit percentage is what you do in terms of how much you invested in the total amount and how much you get the resource to return back. Meaning, okay, total profit, total what you sell for the item divided by how much you invested, and that's what you get. And you can also adjust resource return rate if you want to create in the HO and see comparison for that. But generally we made this just for the royal zones, and this should be adjustable for that with the specific bonus. So let's say if you want to go nature staffs in Thetford, you just go to Thetford and have 28%. But yeah, generally, if you want to craft an item, you never sell that item in the same place where you crafted. Why? Because then the market is oversaturated already because people are crafting there. People are lazy. People just want to sell it immediately. Then that's the profit sharing is going to cut, and that's not necessarily being profitable for you. Uh, and you can also think there are all the royal cities and Brazilian and the black market that you can sell. So you can go, let's say, buy orders, for example, to buy even cheaper and sell it in other place that is more profitable. And you also have to take account of, let me see, what type of demand of the certain item. How many people are buying it? Let's say 200 people are buying this type of item each day. How much can you sell if you have a bulk craft of about 50 items? Then it's more reasonable to say, okay, maybe I can sell about 20 or 50, between 15 to 20 items per day. Good. Then you sell over time, not to crash the market. Because I can tell you that already. I have 600 staves in arcane staffs. And if I chose to sell it all at once, I could crash the market immediately. And that's the reason why I tell you, if you craft in bulk, which you should sell up in segments. And which sells out fast, because if you have something at a large bulk, then you have to think about, okay, what's reasonable to sell rather than what's profitable. Then most of the players are buying either for like normal quality or excellent quality. If they want to be cheap, they go for normal quality. If they want to be more like PvP status, then go for excellent quality. You can also re-roll outstanding quality to excellent quality just to make sure it sells. And you only have to re-roll, well, if you're good 50-50, then you only have to re-roll once. But you can lose out there. And yeah, that's the general, how to say, status about crafting in general. Because the player in the PvPs in the royal area generally care about excellent quality. If because the higher quality, the more IP, the more damage, the more resistant you get, and whatever.
And the
And
more you can
you
save
also
something.
have to take in consideration, okay, which skills are the biggest now in the game that currently? And then you can go to the top of the rankings. The majority is going to be stationed at Thetford or Limhurst. And those top 10 guilds has majority of the money. So your customer is probably gonna be easiest to reach over there. So the demand for certain items is probably gonna be there. So as what I do is I craft it in a certain area. Let's say I wanna craft offhands in Martlock. Then I probably transport my items and sell it to Thetford or Glimmerst. Because the player base are bigger there, the more likely you're gonna sell. Once you reach a certain point of like profits, it's more or less how fast do you want to get your money, essentially. You can reach for like a niche item with probably higher profit margins, but it will sell slower. Or you can reach something that is more medium wise, sells like decently, lesser profit. So it all depends what you wanna like craft for certain items. And yeah, CVC items generally sells like it's always in demand. People are always fighting. It will always be in demand. But for niche items, let's say bear pass, it's not always going to be demand, but it's compared to other items, it's usually going to be faster if you craft something more. Mist color, for example, is a very interesting item itself because it's used in PvP, used in PvE, and it's generally used for a lot of healer because, for example, also like frost staffs. They use mist color in the mist or mist color in any type of Ava roads. That's an example. Uh, Generally, if you want to think profits, weapons are in the higher tier more profitable compared to armors. Because you don't gain a lot of benefits for like let's say 5.4 items. If you wanna awaken it, the weapon, then you gain more profitability for it, higher quality, the higher item you go. However, for more consistency, I would say in the lower tiers like 6.1 and 6 flat, 7 flat, or 5.2, for example, usually are better with armors because you can swap any builds or anything. Armor are swappable. Majority of the time, armor you can swap. And if people are dying with it, it's always going to be a demand. Yeah, that's my little side slot. And we have a link towards this spreadsheet. All you have to do is just copy it and make your own. And you write down the numbers.
And also to add to Trini, please pay attention to updates because my biggest profit so far was Call of Purity. It used to sell 70k, 17k for a tier 4 item back on West. Then the update came and flat 4 Call of Purity went for 92k. So the profit went abysmal. So the next update, double bladed stuffs will get nerfed. Bloodletter will get nerfed. So you'll see a smaller pool of people that are trying to buy those items. So you have to pay attention to the basically the logs of the update. which items are going to be the next big boom, or the items who will be just trashed.
And yeah, that's all I have to say generally. Uh, yeah, most of the people, most of the demand is in excellent stuff or normal quality, most of it. And if you wanna craft any specific items, it's gonna be sold is around there.
Well, we touched on that point. Like one of the beginner methods of like gaining some money, right, was to basically craft the royal items. The royal items will also require one lower tier already crafted item. The quality of the item that you use there that dictates what kind of quality your royal item will have. So if you start off with a, let's say you want to make royal robes, right? For that you need scholar robes. If you start off with an excellent scholar robe, it will automatically also become an excellent royal robe.
Yep. So
And
yeah,
if you
those are
just if you just if you just want to buy,
Yeah.
you could also buy a lower quality scholar robe and just re-roll the quality. Most of the times you end up with profit that way as well. But that's a gamble.
It's the same thing with the capes, but the thing with the capes, for example, you drop tier 4 on that crest and you look at the prices in the market. Sometimes just a regular 4.3 cape is more expensive than you could craft your own. So pay attention to the prices. So, and you basically can craft your own tier 4.3 cape and make it in the undead cape for the less market price that it's been listed as.
Yeah, and double check this. I just have to make sure that you guys have the link set up right now for. No, you don't. Okay, there we go. Then we can create a thread already. Crafting spreadsheet. I will give you all access to it, at least as a viewer. Then you can make like copy it on a Google Sheet and do your own investigation of what I mean you like to do. And yeah,
Also, Trini, what is your opinion on the Goldenium crafting sheet?
um, it's alright, but there's nothing magical.
yeah.
It's more that it updates all the numbers, right, from the market instead of you having to fill it in all yourself.
Yeah,
It's not accurate.
I mean
Not
it's not as accurate. I would say there are plenty of ways to do it. Like you can probably live without it. That's what I would say. Even if you do, let's say, Goldenian market sheet, I can even pull it out here in 2 seconds. Uh, Google
I don't even
Calculator.
have access to it.
There we go.
Is someone up for Carlion transport?
I'm up for calling transport, but
I'm up for one as well.
it's nothing magical about Goldini that you could have just don't think and do it again. Like do your own spreadsheet or you use this one and you will probably be more accurate. With although it sacrifices a little bit of extra work. Well, it takes less work, but it's uh, not as accurate in one way or another. I think you can use this for black market, generally get a view of it, but I don't think it's any other better than just doing this shit. Although you have for potion crafting and anything else, bear. Gear crafting, it's just as similar. I think our spreadsheet is just better in terms of gear crafting. And yeah, that's my opinion. But that's what I learned from using both. So yeah.
Okay.
Also for potion and food crafting, I actually prefer the one I just posted in the guild chat too, because it's more easy for me to just calmly look at that and be around the ballpark of what it says. Because in the end, I think everything is deriving its data from the Albion 2D project anyway.
Yeah, everything is dividing. Majority of the sheets are, or online sheets are from Albion Online Data Project. So, and it usually update between resets, because that's mostly when it's going to be most accurate.
There are some client-based applications that let you update everything from your client. So you need to go to the market and manually update data and then pick it up.
Yeah.
But yeah, not a lot of people are doing it over time. So you will still end up with delays in the last update.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have any final questions? And we can wrap this up. Let me go now.
Not
Anyone
yet.
have?
I think all the questions are gonna come once people are trying to start doing these things.
Okay, but I will send you my crafting sheets and see if you like it. If you have any more question how to use it, then fine. I can help you out.
Perfect. I'll also be sharing all the links and later add some stuff. I have a document in the making which is way more detailed because here we just did an overview, so I did skip over quite a few things that I'm glad Trini explained at the end as well. But there's also more stuff to it, so in case anybody's interested, reach out to anybody who has a colorful name in the Discord.
There we go. Copy. There we go. Okay. Now I will end the recording.